Wednesday announced a television that you could have a conversation with, not just tell it what to do, but have a conversation with, thankfully, or due to their collaboration with Macquarie University's Linguistics Department and importantly, the televisions that you go to buy in Harvey Norman and Dick Smith and JB Hi-Fi, they will speak back to you with an Australian accent, male or female, you can select either, but not only speak back to you, but have a conversation. They have mapped thousands of phrases that can be stitched together and the television can talk back to you. Yeah, anyway. And then there's gestures. Interestingly, one of the big changes when you go to buy a television, when you went in to buy your television last year, the year before that, when you went in to buy it, you talked about how many pixels it had, or how physically big the television was, or how thin it was, or the resolution, or the audio quality. The big change with that is that you'll hardly mention that anymore. What you're going to be talking about is how much cloud storage you get with your television, so you can store your favourite television shows, music, etc. So the television is still an important component in the digital household, but that's all changing. That's all changing. But the key factor here is high-speed broadband. The importance of having a high-speed broadband infrastructure going into the connected home. It's not just about downloading DVDs. It's about doing a whole variety of things in that connected home, and how that connected home is going to be accessed will require high-speed broadband. Which brings me to the point about the Internet of Things. What we're seeing is more and more devices having access or being accessible via the internet. So the Internet of Things, we're seeing a variety of devices, and it's already started. We're seeing more and more devices that you can access externally from your home or your business. And this kind of changes again the dynamic for business people when you consider how your business operates. So if we look at the Internet of Things, a variety of devices, for the first time at the Consumer Electronics Show, some of the vendors were showing, some of the manufacturers were showing white goods. So we saw the Internet fridge. Now, we have heard about the Internet fridge before. LG released one which cost $14,000, and basically it was an LCD screen stuck on the fridge itself. But an intelligent fridge or a smart fridge will deliver so much more. So every time you take something out of the fridge and you don't put it back, the fridge will register using near-field communication. It's already tried and tested. It will build a shopping list for you. So you can either send that directly to the supermarket and it will be filled out for you, or you can ping the fridge, get it to send you an email with the information of your shopping list on it. You can plug it into the Coles or Woolworths site, and it'll come back to you as aisle and shelf number for the items that didn't make it back into the fridge that are on your shopping list. Already we're seeing motor cars. We're seeing BMW, Mercedes and Audi. Now, they have integrated computers into their cars. The mid-range BMWs have anything from 9 to 12 computers in the car. With the Internet of Things, as you drive the car into the agent for service, you're going to find that it's already uploading all the information about how the car was driven, the ambient temperatures it was driven in, the brake wear, the oil temperatures, so that as the car's serviced and tuned, it's done for the driving conditions in which that car's driven in. Obviously, driving a car on expressways in Sydney as opposed to driving out here in Dubbo would be vastly different. In Sydney, you don't really move much. Here you get to actually drive your car. So information comes back to you via the smart fridge using near-field communication. And one of the demonstrations that I saw at the Consumer Electronics Show was with near-field communication. An overfilled shopping trolley was just taken and walked through the checkout, and it was totaled in one go. Nothing was taken out of the basket, which was, I think, a dream come true. So we are seeing a variety of technologies that allow us to access this, and kind of brings us back to where the technology is going. And wearable technology is something that we're going to see more and more of in the very near future, and this will add dramatically to the number of contact points that we have with the internet. The rumour, of course, is Apple's iWatch, and there's a variety of different wearable technologies that link into the story of the Internet of Things. So there's a whole range of different technologies that have been brought on board in the last few years, and again, that's just going to accelerate dramatically over the next few years. So what we're seeing is, as I said, a revolution, and there's been a communications revolution, and overlapped with an information revolution. Now, if we look at that communications revolution, what we're seeing, and I know it's embarrassing for some of you, but it started with the first mobile device, the Star Track from Motorola. We called it affectionately the brick. Now, there would be some people in here who may have had this, and at its time it was quite remarkable, because a mobile phone up till then had to be either in an attaché case with a battery attached, or bolted into a car chassis and connected to the battery in the car. But here was a phone that you could use, walk around with, as long as you had a network, and the network was pretty limited. And it had a phenomenal memory. You could program in 8 numbers, had a battery that lasted 20 minutes talk time, 3 hours on time, and then it had to be recharged, and it weighed well over 1 kilo, hence its brick. Then the phone evolved rapidly into devices that we call today the smartphone. And the smartphone really has changed so much about the way that we access the web. In fact, it's having, and I'll show you a graph a bit later on, it's having a direct impact on conventional computers, notebooks and desktops. So if you think about the information revolution, I think that kind of started with the way we accessed our content. And in many ways, I think the iPad was the starting point for this. So suddenly, and you know, a bit of what I do with Telstra, so it might be obvious that I do a little bit with Telstra. I do events around the country for seniors. And what has been a remarkable thing for me to see in the 2 years we've been shipping 50 iPads around the country and doing the magical mystery tour of the internet with seniors, is the ability to say to them, here's a device that in 10 minutes you can completely master with just this, just your index finger. So the ability to take a piece of technology and use it to look at travel sites, to look at health sites, to look at, you know, a variety of different things we go through doing banking, a whole range of things, and the lights come on. Suddenly they're engrossed in the technology, they're immersed in it, because really it's just their index finger that's the navigator. They struggle with a keyboard and mouse, they struggle with the logic of a traditional computer and a traditional computer's operating system. So the iPad, I think, has been a disruptive innovation. It's changed the way we access the internet, and also the way we use, I guess a computer is the best way of describing it. And sometimes Hollywood kind of gets it right. I tend to think that that what we've seen is just with the iPad and gesture-based navigation, the beginning of a real change in the way we access information, and hence calling it the information revolution. So having a desktop that's in front of you is a virtual desktop, is holographic. It kind of struck me that I was watching Iron Man 2, and I thought, this is probably where it's going. It's interesting that I'll show you another clip that kind of includes this, this differential in the way we access technology. So I was watching Iron Man 2, and I thought, this is really interesting in the way that information is accessed. I mean, imagine this as just a layer of information. And Robert Downey Jr. just uses gestures. So he wants to get rid of something or make it bigger. He increases the size as you do on an iPad. And of course, he physically doesn't have the monitor in front of him, but has it virtually in front of him, and uses gestures. Make something bigger, pick out the elements you want and use them. So now usually I take a vote here. Would you prefer to watch Iron Man 2 to finish it? I won't get you to put your hands up. So we've seen the real change in the way we access information, and there is this revolution in terms of the devices that we've got, the hardware and the software that we drive it with. And Microsoft, the company, is there anyone here from Microsoft before I get into trouble? The company that gave us Vista, we just love it, I love that. They really do a lot of research and development. They work with other companies and bring products up to the point of commercialisation, to the point where they're available. You won't often see a Microsoft label on these products, but the company's huge. It has 45,000 employees. The Seattle campus is massive, and as I said, they work with a lot of other companies to develop products to commercialisation stage. And what management did was go to the different divisions within the research and development facilities and say, look, what we want to see are devices that will be available in the next 5 years, will be commercialised in the next 5 years. And they put together this really interesting video. So essentially we start off in a classroom. The business applications for this device are enormous. The children talking to each other on either side of the screen. It looks like a window at the front of the classroom. And you can see that it translates in real time as they're talking to each other. Now, the amazing thing here is the girl is in Seattle, the boy is in Mumbai. The same with these two girls. And the ability to communicate through this LCD screen is really quite remarkable. Being able to send that information then to a plane and have that information accessible in the information